If you're a digital product seller, you're going to want to lean into this one. Selling digital products online can be a very lucrative side hustle or even full-time business, but there are some specific strategies that you'll need to implement if you want to start generating consistent, substantial income. In this video, I'm sharing 3 of these proven strategies, the top hacks I wish someone had shared with me when I first started. All 3 of these tactics really make a huge difference and can drastically shortcut the amount of time it takes you to reach your ideal income level. Now, I'm about to walk through these 3 tips with you, but if you're like, Kate, I'm all in on digital products, I'm sold, but I just need a deep dive into how to actually start and grow a profitable digital products business, and I've got you covered. I've got my free digital product powerhouse masterclass linked in the description box below. It's about 45 minutes long and it covers more than I can in a shorter YouTube video and goes over the 4 must-haves for successfully selling digital products online, and I lay out the exact steps you'll need to take to get there. Again, it's totally free for you to watch, so definitely click that link in the description box below to hop over there and watch that when you're done watching this video. All right, the first tip we're going to talk about today is to increase your average order value. A lot of sellers don't realize they can do this and are leaving money on the table. Even though they're making sales, they could be making those sales worth more. If you've got a customer coming to your shop ready to purchase, you might as well offer them something extra or offer an upgrade to increase the value of that purchase. Not everyone will take you up on it, but a few will, meaning that the income that you're generating on a consistent basis is going to be higher. There are lots of ways that you can increase your AOV. You can add an order bump at checkout, which is basically just offering an additional product with a one-click add-on. You can offer tiered pricing. So for instance, you could have 3 versions of the same product, maybe a basic version, a standard version, and a premium version. They might come in thinking they only want the basic, but when they read everything awesome that's included with the upgraded premium version, they might choose that higher price tier. Another thing you can do is to add on an upsell. So this would be an additional offer that you present for them to add on after purchase, either on the thank you page or in your thank you email. But my absolute favorite way to increase the AOV is by offering bundles. Bundles are huge for digital product sellers, and any digital product seller that's not offering a bundle of some sort, I would say, is probably missing out on extra revenue they could be bringing in. So a bundle is when you just group related products together and you sell them all in one listing as a package for a slightly discounted rate. When you do this, your customer perceives a higher value and will likely purchase more because they're getting that slight discount, so they feel like they're getting more bang for their buck. What type of bundle you offer is obviously going to depend on what niche you're in, what type of digital products you're selling, but some examples of bundles that you could sell would be a whole set of Canva templates, a business starter kit, a pack of wedding planning printables, a teacher resource pack. You can get pretty creative with this, but no matter what type of bundle you decide to offer, you're gonna need to have a tool or an app to help you actually set this up within your sales platform. A lot of digital product sellers use Shopify to host their own e-commerce website, and there's an awesome Shopify app that does this very thing, and it's called Kaching Bundles. If you're a Shopify seller, you can use this app to offer bundle deals and volume discounts right there directly on your product page. It's easy to install, beginner friendly, and works with any Shopify theme. So it's highly customizable, meaning you can change out the fonts, the wording, the colors, and make it really look like it goes with your whole store design in less than 5 minutes. And the reason I say it's beginner friendly is because you can build these bundles with no coding required, so you don't have to have any experience with coding. It's an easy setup where you can decide which products are available for a volume discount, meaning if they order more, they get a bigger discount. You can have different tiers, so maybe within one product, you have options for them to buy 1, but if they purchase 2, they get a 10% discount. If they purchase 3, they get a 20% discount, and so on. They've got real-time analytics, which is super fun because you can track right there in your dashboard how much extra revenue you generated. It's a Shopify native user interface, so it integrates seamlessly and feels naturally built in. And one of my favorite things, they've got 24/7 live support. So if you ever need help, you can reach out to their support team and they're there to help you along the way. When trying out new apps, I always look for the review rating to see if it's actually legitimate and actually a tool that people trust. And this one has a 4.9 star rating on the Shopify App Store with over 20,000 brands using it. So that tells me this is legitimate and credible and a tool I can trust. This brand generated over $100,000 extra in revenue and increased their average order value by 40% using Kaching Bundle quantity breaks. Now they do offer a free 14-day trial on all plans if you're interested in trying it out to see if it would be a good fit for your business. And as the sponsor for today's video, they've also graciously offered our audience a discount code which will give you 10% off any of the subscription plans. So if you use my code KATE10, you'll get that discount if you decide to sign up for any of those plans. If you try it out, I'd love to hear how you like it, what types of bundles and discounts you're offering, and if you've seen an increase in your average order value from implementing that strategy. I've got the link below for you to grab that free trial and get started offering bundles today. All right, moving on to tip number 2, which is don't reinvent the wheel. As creatives, we can often feel like we need to come up with something totally brand new, something that no one has ever heard of before. But believe me when I say your quickest way to start making sales fast is to go with what's already working in the market and find out what people are already searching for. We take what's already in demand and base our product around that. Now, when we're thinking about creating these types of products, there's 2 phases. The first phase here is to do some product and trend research. As an Etsy seller myself, my first go-to when I'm doing this type of research is just to go on the Etsy website and use the search bar to do a simple search to type in a keyword phrase of a product type that I'm thinking of and look at the results that come up. I'm specifically looking at the listings that are ranking high on the first or second page of search results because I know they're ranking high for a reason. Etsy's algorithm doesn't rank anything on those first few pages unless it's already doing really well and making a lot of sales. And then to get even more specific, within those first few pages of search results, I'm intentionally focusing on the listings that have that little bestseller or popular now badge on the thumbnail because this tells me that these listings are the cream of the crop. These are the ones that are doing the very best in this specific niche that I've searched. Then I just continue to look through those listings that are bestsellers to try to identify any repeating elements like certain color schemes or font styles that I see being used over and over again. These elements are going to be different for the product type that you're looking at, but in general, for digital products, we could be looking for things like overall aesthetic and vibe, what sort of graphic styles are being used, font styles, colors, and what's actually included if it's a bundle. There are also 2 websites other than Etsy that I love to tune into for this type of trend research, and these are the yearly articles that are put out about graphic design trends by both Canva and Creative Market. Both Canva and Creative Market put out these articles each year to show us what they predict to be rising in terms of graphic design trends for that coming year. So we're talking about different design styles, colors, formats, layouts. Canva's trends article and Creative Market's trends article give so much juicy information on this. So when in doubt, look at what's already working on the platform that you're looking at selling on and check out these different trends articles from the pros who know what they're doing. So that's all included in this first phase of research, but once you've got a good handle on that, you can't neglect phase number 2 here, which is to find your unique selling point or your USP. Your unique selling point is a thing that's going to differentiate your product from all of the other ones around it that might be similar in other ways. So you've got to find some part of your product that you can do a little bit differently, put your own spin on it and make it even better than the competitors' listings to help it stand out from the crowd. And this is where your creativity can really shine. So we're taking inspiration from what we already see working in the market, putting our own twist on it. And when you combine market demand with a unique selling point, you've got the ingredients for a bestseller. All right, moving on to our next tip, which is to lean into the data. This is something I so wish I had grasped when I first started, instead of it taking me a few years into the process for me to really get a hold of this. When I started leaning into making data-driven decisions instead of just trial and error guesses and randomly just throwing things out there to see if it would stick, my products in my shop absolutely took off. So when I say data-driven decisions, I'm talking about looking at your analytics, looking at the data, and doing research ahead of time to figure out what's actually in demand in the market. Because as hard of a truth as it is, there's just no getting around the fact that we all have a personal style of things that we like and that we're drawn to, but your personal style and my personal style as a seller may not always line up with what's most in demand currently in the market. Trends come and go, so what was popular a couple years ago that I might still sort of be holding on to might have already started to fade out and something new has taken its place. And if I'm not willing as a seller to be flexible and do the research to keep up with the changes and what the market wants, then my products are likely to peak at a certain point and then sort of just die out. The key to long-term success as any type of product seller is to be flexible and continue with this type of research and make these data-driven decisions, not decisions based just on what I personally like, but decisions based on what the market is demanding. So I'm looking at things like what keyword phrases are people searching for a lot currently on my sales platform. So if I'm selling on Etsy, what are Etsy shoppers going on and typing into the search bar? If I'm an Amazon seller, what are people typing into the Amazon search bar? Not only figuring this out for my broad product category type, but even getting more niche and specific with it in looking at style style elements, things like font styles, color schemes, graphics types, aesthetic. So for instance, if I'm offering a Canva template set for business owners, are they now wanting more clean, sleek, modern aesthetics, or maybe really vibrant, colorful, retro aesthetics? There's so many different options of not just the type of product I could create, but the style I can create it in. And I've learned along the way that it pays big to make these decisions based on research instead of just random trial and error. There are many different tools you can use to do this type of product and trend research. One of my very favorite, especially for Etsy sellers, is Sales Samurai. Sales Samurai has so many different capabilities and tools you can use to make these data-driven decisions. My favorite is their search tool, where you can actually go on and type a search phrase that you're thinking of, one that describes your product, to see what the estimated amount of times that specific phrase is searched on Etsy per month. You can also see data for that search phrase like the click-through rate, the competition rate, and it'll even show you related phrases that are trending on both Etsy and Google. So you might be able to get some inspiration for things that you hadn't thought of before. It'll tell you what related tags other sellers with these types of products are using, so you can get a really good idea of how to actually build out your Etsy listing with your title, your tags, your keywords that you're using to ensure that you're using these highly searched phrases and make sure that your listing is as well optimized to rank high in the search as possible. You can also use tools like Sales Samurai's profit calculator to figure out what the right price point for your items would be. It'll tell you based on your price point and all of your fees and added costs what your profit margin would be at the end of the day, and is a huge help for deciding how you should price each listing. So if you're interested in taking that next step and trying out Sales Samurai for research, I've got my link for a free 3-day trial in the description box below. You can use that to try it out, and you can also input the code KATE20 if you want to get 20% off any of their paid plans if you decide to keep using it beyond that free trial. Big thanks to Sales Samurai for sponsoring this portion of today's video. So friend, I hope those 3 tips help you out. Make sure to click that link in the description box below to hop over and watch my Digital Product Powerhouse Masterclass. That's going to give you that deep dive into those next steps you can take to get started growing your profitable digital products business today. Talk soon.